It's medication time, boys. Is this, oh, I guess we're rolling. Hawkeye, what are you doing? Yeah, good question. Hey, I know it's just me. This is, again, just trying this out. It is, what am I, Pacific Standard Time on the West, broadcasting from the West Coast of Canada. Well, it says check test. I am just going to be looking at, where is my, check out my channel. Come on, where are you? Okay, good. I guess sounds like I can hear, obviously a little bit of time lag, but sounds like I do have audio. What did I get? 2 subscribers from yesterday. I'm at the classic 322. Ooh. Thank you for your comments. Let's see. From yesterday's impromptu stream. How's everybody doing? It's okay. Talking to myself. Let's see. Well, certainly we are embracing not just the craziness, but the grace and mercy. The fact that we are still here, as Darno would put it. What did he says classically and sincerely? What does he say? It's not just this is the day that the Lord has made, but, well, that's part of it. But there's definitely a sense of gratitude, and depending on where we're at, wherever your circumstance, whenever you're, whether you're hearing this right now or you're going to hear this in a few minutes or in a few hours, a few days, maybe a year. What did I see? Just know that your Hawkeye loves you very much. Thanks, Hawkeye. I look forward to all you put. Thank you very much, Cat 601. Froggy, she leaves a comment. Shut your hole. Which one? Yeah, shut it. How many times have you been told that in your life? And you either shoulder shrug and keep going, or you listen and do what you're told. But if that's you, then you're probably not going to find this channel or hang out with the likes of me and the Sarichi team. We're here because, what is it? I want to say grade 11 English teacher, the final school bell of the school year. And this is going back into the 90s. End of class, end of the year. No more returning to this room. The bell rings and this guy goes, if you followed the rules, you've missed the point. Hey, Marie, I found you on Johnny's show. Hey, thank you for, hey, you're welcome. I'm glad you maybe figuring things out together, right? Hopefully something profitable, something good, something encouraging, even something enraging, something to piss you off. It's funny. What does it take to get it? Like Froggy here. Sure, you'll say something, but what are you doing? Just going to be critical? You ever show your face? You ever sound your voice? Have you found your balls? Shut your hole. The joke from the other day, boy. All right, while we're here, let's see, what can we do? Yesterday's, we looked at a little bit of the Jesuit Superior General list. We, of course, bounced back and forth from the first Jesuit Superior General, Ignatius of Loyola, and certainly to Arturo Sosa, because nobody knows his name. But while I'm here, we'll be here for a few minutes. Again, just trying to get to, at the very least, this is just testing, trying to get comfortable with this ish. Let's see. Hey, man, Benjamin. Okay, now this is where it gets into. I'm in StreamYard. Okay, so I can see the chat in StreamYard, but also and this is about figuring it out, because of course it's nice to keep your comments too. Hey, man. Hey, Benjamin, how you doing? Thanks for being here. I'll even type it just in case you can't hear me. How do I sound? Can you at least give me a thumbs up, thumbs down? I'm going to mute for 1 second. Take a sip of water. That was muted. Un tasse de l'eau. A glass of water. Like Bruce Lee quoting or paraphrasing Sun Tzu, and Sun Tzu paraphrasing Niccolo Machiavelli. Be like water. Be like water. If you're still out there, Benjamin, give me how do I sound? And it's okay if you're not there. That's okay too. And because again, this is more for me. And if somebody can benefit, like Froggy. So instead of just looking at this Jesuit Superior General list, I've got Jesuits.ca. Put the link in the chat. Good audio, just catching you at 2 times speed. Is it because I'm talking fast? No. You're sounding clear. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. And hey, I might not recognize your names from. I don't know if there's obviously a crossover between You Screwed, JSUTube, and Odyssey. But if I don't recognize, if you're somebody that we don't know the names of from Odyssey, and I don't catch it, I apologize, because obviously it's nice to. It's nice to know who you're hanging out with, and if we've quote unquote met before, it's hey, it's like having a moment around a late night campfire, blue light monolith 2001 Odyssey black screen. Okay, chronology. We brought this up yesterday. We, as in me, your Hawkeye. Inigo de Loyola is injured in Pamplona. So May 20th, 1521. 20th of May, significant day for me. Let's see. It was a day actually. I didn't get nailed by a cannonball, but I got definitely nailed by something. And of course, I have been walking the rest of the day since then with a limp. And Inigo de Loyola is injured in Pamplona, so I have my connection to Loyola on that date. It's interesting. Both my father and myself, my father who's not with us any longer, but we both have dates, specific dates connected to different Jesuit superior generals. So I feel definitely a type of intimate connection with what I do, which is, of course, sussing out the general's drum beat with dates, and of course with names and places. Let's see. Appreciate it. Yeah. No worries. Hey, thank you. Do I say is it Tersna? Tershna? How about this? Where are you at? So we got Benjamin, we got Hawkeye. Who's this Hawkeye Rising guy? As I said earlier, I'm broadcasting from Western Canada. Fires to the north, fires to the west, fires to the far west. I think I hit it again yesterday about so Lahaina, Maui. Fire started on the feast day of Saint Dominic, the founder of the Dominican order. You sound positively manic. I think anybody would sound positively manic. I think hey, you king, you prince, you king, Tersna, thank you very much. West Coast as well. Okay, no wonder it's almost 20 after 11. I know on the East Coast, I know the Cap would be sawing logs. There's a lot of the members of the team. I think I know Bill is in Oregon somewhere, but all right. The thing is, you're listening to me at 2 times the speed, so obviously, how the hell do you do that if you're either not playing me live? I don't want to go down that route. So it's yeah. If you can do that, fantastic. Should I speak slower and then it'll sound normal when you're listening to me at 2 times? All right, May 20th, 1521. We have Loyola, Inigo de Loyola, injured in Pamplona. August 15th, 1534. Pardon me, one moment. On the other side of the flat world, aren't we all? In some shape or form. August 15, 1534. The first vows in Montmartre by Ignatius Loyola, Francois Xavier. I don't have the list of the first, well, Loyola, Xavier, Peter Favre or Pierre Favre. I don't have committed to memory the first 7. But again, August 15th, feast day of the Assumption, which is we're told that Mary, the mother of Jesus, as bodily ascended into heaven. I want to say August 15th, 17, I think it's 1769. We also have a birthday of Napoleon. Yeah, August 15th, 1769. Napoleon Bonaparte. Later known by his original name, Napoleon I. Or just Napoleon, as the Cap would say, because we love him so, we just call him by his first name. And then, of course, his death day, May 5th, 1821. May 5th there's a Jesuit superior general date. I don't have that committed to memory yet either, but significant day, or anniversary day. So chronology. 1536, Versailles brought Jean Couture and Claude J joined the group of first companions. So rounding out the first 10, that's 1536. 1536, October 6, I believe. Yes, William Tyndale burned alive. There's a complex story behind that. Who is responsible? But I also want to say at the same time, October 6th, probably not even a handful. No, that's not true. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a handful of years later on 6th October. So we have a death day of William Tyndale. And not even 2 decades later, you have the birth of Matteo Ricci, 6 October 1552. And so he was born just 4 years prior, just under 4 years prior to the death of first Jesuit Superior General Ignatius Loyola. June 24, 1537. So June 24, the feast day of the birth of John the Baptist. Whether it's legit, it's not the whatever. This is what it's listed, because there's also which would come in the early 18th century, the 1717. We have a line in the sand for Freemasonry. So June 24, 1717. 1537, ordination in Venice of Saint Ignatius and those companions who are not yet priests. So that's making 24 June popular. So here's the source. I've said this a few times. For September 3rd, 1539, Pope Paul III gives his oral approval to the project of founding a religious order. Digitus Dei est hic, the finger of God is here. And that was his declaration, Paul III's declaration, after Ignatius Loyola presented him the Jesuit formula. Again, this is from Jesuits.ca, March 16th, 1540. Before even Loyola is even voted first Jesuit Superior General in 1541, April 19, March 16th, 1540, Francis Xavier leaves Rome for India. September 27th, 1540, Paul III approves a society. So let's just add to that too. Xavier leaves Rome for India even prior to Pope Paul III's approval of the Society of Jesus through his bull, the papal bull, Regimini Militantis Ecclesia, September 27, 1540. We know now Google shares the same birthday, September 27th, with the Jesuit order. And while I'm thinking of it, I'm just going to skip back. Let's see, the Farnese Papa, yeah. Alessandro Farnese. There was a distant family member who was, I don't want to start guessing at his role. I want to, whatever papal nuncio means. So whether a very close connection to the Farnese Pope, and whether that was Jacques Cartier's liaison, because prior to, I believe it was Cartier's third voyage to Canada, or what would become Canada, I have a source, actually, I have a source that says that Cartier sought special favors from Rome through Alessandro Farnese, but it was not it wasn't Paul III directly. There was another Alessandro Farnese who was I don't know if he was just a bishop or a cardinal. Anyway, that's another. Jesuits are afraid of what India has to offer. Yeah. Well, that's definitely some subject matter to get into. I have my own thoughts about that, which I won't get into right now. Why India first? But I think the bullseye was India and China immediately at the same time that what was being discovered, and this was brought up in on Flipping Tables, Johnny's channel, Flipping Tables, last past Sunday. the fact that in 1534, July 24th, Jacques Cartier ordered a 30-foot cross to be erected on what is now known as the Gaspé Peninsula, which provoked a confrontation with the indigenous. I don't have all the names down. You can look this up. And through this confrontation, a kidnapping occurred, and 2 boys were kidnapped, and their ages aren't necessarily given, but you'll find their names. So you'll find the names. So Chief Donnacona, and then 2 names of the 2 boys, Domagaya and Tyoguni. I had issues pronouncing this. Even my first videos were literally about this very topic, and I would. Hey, Eric, how you doing, man? Good to hear from you, man. I'm only here for a few minutes, so if you got okay, so what was that? What was I just saying? So the 30-foot cross, Cartier was making as we're told, declaration for the King of France at that time was Francis I, who directly financed a lot of the voyages, the so-called exploration. Of course, all of this information is suspect, particularly the intention and the motive behind. It wasn't searching for the Northwest Passage. It wasn't searching for a more direct route to China for this and India for spices. Something else is obviously going on here. So this confrontation led to the kidnapping of 2 boys, which Cartier brought back to Saint Malo, Brittany, northern France, and it brought these 2 boys to Paris, presented them to King Francis I, and who was in Paris at the exact same time in 1534, in September, which is when we're told that Cartier returned from his first voyage to the New World. Loyola and his companions. And again, just remember the timeline, and just not even a month before, you have the swearing of the oath to the Virgin Mary, that first vow on August 15th, 1534. So very specific timing. As I've said in the flipping tables as well, I don't have a direct. I don't think a source exists that explicitly has the paths cross of Cartier, Loyola, these 2 boys, but I believe these boys were literally studied for approximately 9 months. But that's something else to get into. I won't get into here at the moment. It's certainly yeah. Let's see. Resnick, you're interested in doing it. Yeah, that's. Thank you, Eric. I don't know if I would have much to say to that. I don't know what can be mine to glean from that. I think if you got something to say, obviously create your content. That's I know that's going backwards because I know Doc and Getting the Cap had covered. There was I don't know enough to say something about it. I don't want to feel like I'm starting to guess, and then of course totally get derailed. I'll just do a couple more dates, and then we'll say good night. So it's 11:30. My camera hasn't shut off yet. That's a good sign. April 22nd, 1541. Saint Ignatius. Well, it's a Jesuit site. Saint Ignatius and his companions make their vows as Jesuits at the Basilica of Saint Paul outside the walls of Rome, walls in Rome. April 22nd, 1541. That's fascinating. This actually skips over this timeline, skips over the election of the first superior general. But it does give us What's April 22nd in today's in the Gregorian calendar today? I believe it's Earth Day. I know there are other dates, of course, associating. Oh, there we go. Camera just shut off. So wrapping on my chamber. Hold on. Let's see if we can do this quickly. No, it doesn't do. Let's see. Well, thank you very much for. Remember, this is all just a test. Is that the camera was unplugged? No, it wasn't unplugged. Click the camera button. Start cam. Come on. It's okay with cam. Yeah, thanks, Benjamin. No, remember, for me, this is a test. It's figuring out how to do this and to be a little more efficient at it. Because obviously, it'd be nice to do this once in a while and not feel like a dumbass, all thumbs, not knowing what's going on. What I don't like the flipping around. Then, of course, missing whether it's comments or some information. Keep your flow however you feel. Thanks, Terzna. Let's see. Okay, a couple more dates. July 30th, 1548. July 30th, 1548, Paul III. So Alessandro Farnese approves the spiritual exercises. Okay, so we have a July 30th date. Christopher Nolan, director of Batman trilogy. Well, and the recently released Oppenheimer on the Jesuit suppression anniversary, the 250th Jesuit suppression anniversary, the same day that Barbie, Greta Gerwig, Roman Catholic, educated Jesuit, trained just down the road at the Jesuit High School in Sacramento, California, was also released July 21st. July 27, 1609, beatification by Pope Paul V of Ignatius Loyola and Francis Xavier. That's okay. Beatification, yes. The canonization came about 13 years later, 1622. I believe it was March 12th, and by Gregory the 15th. And not only did the Gregory the 15th canonize Ignatius Loyola and Francis Xavier, there were a handful of other names. No, maybe that's too many. But at least one other name we need to associate with this canonization date is, remember, Teresa of Avila, the uncredited source of the Thanos Gauntlet, the MCU, the Marvel Comic Universe Thanos Gauntlet. Her incorruptible hand with the 6 Infinity Stones. And the day Teresa of Avila died, October 4th, 1582. So the Gregorian calendar, which had been approved that year, February 24th, 1582, by Gregory the 13th, the day Teresa of Avila died, so 4 October 1582, 11 days were immediately lost. Now that formula doesn't apply. The 11-day formula doesn't apply at any time and place in the calendar. But nonetheless, when Teresa of Avila died, and something else we discovered recently too, that Teresa of Avila, or Teresa of Jesus as she was also known, her confessor was Francesco Ribera, the author of Jesuit Futurism under Roberto Bellarmine, I believe it was under Claudio Acquaviva, 5th Jesuit Superior General. All right, January 26, 1611. So now we're getting into dates just immediately after the so-called failed blown covers cover gunpowder plot. Gunpowder gun. Yeah, they got plowed. Gunpowder plot. The Guy Fawkes elevation. This is Shakespearean time. The Jesuit Dewey Rhymes, the authorized version or the King James version, 1609, 1611. January 26, 1611, Pierre Biard and Enimont Massé set sail from Dieppe, France to Port Royal, Acadia. So 1609, 1611, think about this now. This is the era post Jacques Cartier, who would become, or who I guess at that point is known as the father of Canada. Now we're into the era of Samuel de Champlain, who textbooks would tell us brought the first Jesuits to what would become Canada. May 22nd, 1611, arrival at Port Royal of Fathers Pierre Biard and Enimont Massé. May 22nd, my immediate thought, I believe that's a Pedro Arrupe connection. Yeah, 28th Judge Superior General Pedro Arrupe, his general that began May 22nd, 1965. When I think of the cinema world, Rambo First Blood Part 2, released May 22nd, 1985. Which I'd covered it in previous videos on this channel. In 85, there was Crocodile Dundee, Rambo First Blood Part 2, and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, all with references to 9/11 in them. And that's just three films in that in 1985 referencing what would become 9/11. How about this? Specifically the Crocodile Dundee. Okay, if you haven't seen Rambo First Blood Part 2, there's a scene where John Rambo gets hung up on a plane in Crocodile Dundee. Paul Hogan, who plays Mick Dundee, is being flown from Australia to the United States of America, arriving in Manhattan, I believe it was. But his first time on a plane, and as the plane's taking off, you hear him. It shows that there's the image of the plane, and all you hear him as the plane's taking off is Jesus Christ. And then the next shot is this. It's not a pan; it's a tilt. So a tilt down on the Twin Towers. And we've covered, and it's not just Michael, the late Michael Heiser. It was published, I believe, before he got to it, but made prominent, brought into the light, especially in the last 10 years or so, 9/11 being the legitimate birthday of Jesus of Nazareth. September 11th, 3 BC. Of course, the Gregorian calendar didn't exist at that time, but the fact that taking the Gregorian calendar, stretching it back, and it intersecting with the Feast of Trumpets, this is certainly fascinating. And as well, with an astronomy program, I believe it was Stellarium, applying the stellar alignment given in Revelation 12. One finds September 11th, 3 BC, also Tishri 1, the Feast of Trumpets. Tishri 1, also the birthday, I believe the traditional birthday taught for Noah, potentially for Adam. Very significant. My position, I believe that's why Jesus also walked on water, that there's the not just the connection with the flood, but the connection with Noah. Well, the two different points, the reason for the flood, but also certainly another topic. Okay. I think, wow, almost 35 minutes. Okay, I think we're going to, yeah, that's not a knife. That's not a knife. No, what's the scene? How about a light and your wallet? And the girl, Mickey's got a knife. And yeah, that's not a knife. This is a knife. Okay, just checking out the comments. They've always known they're going to use Britain among the apocryphal books. At the glove of Thanos, yeah. Yeah, Teresa Villa, IHS should have stayed pretty well. When they suppressed themselves, that was an engineered suppression. One, to disappear themselves, and to disappear the papacy, specifically the white pope. Pius the Sixth, arrested in 1798, died in exile in 1799 under Napoleon Bonaparte the First, or Napoleon the First, or just Napoleon, depending on how you feel about him, because feels before reals. It's all about feelings, right? Keep out to the truth and you'll be protected. Get your ass to the feet of Jesus Christ and you'll be protected. All right. So covering a little bit of chronology. Father Beard begins writing the Jesuit Relations, 1616. And what did, let's see, May 29th, 2017 or 2018, our Jesuit-trained practicing Roman Catholic Prime Minister, let's see, Trudeau Pope visit, Popery visit, Pope. I want to say it was May. Take your time. May 29, 2017. May 29th being the feast day of, I want to say, is it Saint Ursula? It was Vladimir Ledachowski's sister. Vladimir Ledachowski, 26th Jesuit Superior General. And what did Trudeau, Justin Castro Trudeau, what did Trudeau present Jesuit Pope Francis the First? The Jesuit, a copy of the Jesuit Relations, and I believe an accompanying text. I don't want to guess what that was, whether it was anyway, the fact that the date 2017, it's like back to this idea of like in 2015, the paper to the United States of America in the latter half of September, a victory lap for the Jesuit Pope, which has been covered often on the Cerruti Team Briefs on Johnny's channels. There's not good call, Hawk. What did I say? Did I say something that sounds sensible? And everybody goes, fantastic. Hey, we're all learning. Hopefully, we're all learning something here. Again, this idea that if we can literally, but this is about knowing our enemy. We've clearly been studied for years. And for us to turn around and not have a clue, or to turn to those, or to give our hearts, our minds, our souls over to those that say, just the appeal to authority fallacy. Just because someone sounds like they have some kind of authority because of what they wear, because of how they sound, because of their stature, because of they might stand on a stage or behind a podium. We are examining our enemy in the given timeline of our enemy, because this is, and I absolutely agree with the captain here. This is Rome, the Vatican, the Jesuit-controlled Vatican, Roman Catholicism. This is the head of the Hydra that will not grow back. Many would chase after symptoms. Symptoms are attractive, but here we go to the source, and that's Rome, the Vatican, Roman Catholic Church, right to the seat of the papacy, the little horn power, which was disappeared and then resurrected Anyway, let's leave it at that. Thank you. Who would want to acknowledge Letichowski stays in his mom's mansion? All right, chat. And then, of course, figuring out how to preserve the chat, because that last night, nothing was learning how to do this. And then ideally would be able to preserve the chat and allow it, because it's nice to revisit comments, or if I missed something, if somebody has said something. So anyway, I appreciate everyone here. From Terzna Benjamin, let's see. Mandu, Mustafa. Yeah, Jesuit education. All education is a Jesuit education. Ratio Studiorum for the last 500 years. Yeah, world's been turning, yeah, quote unquote, since the 1500s. Yep, 1543. 1543. And then immediately after that, 2 years after the Copernican model being published, we have the Council of Trent. And as Alberto Rivera would say, the Inquisition through the Council of Trent was taken from the Dominicans and given to the Jesuits. And as Doc Felipe would say, the Dominicans were good, as inquisitors were fantastic at torturing the body. Now that the Jesuit order, the Society of Jesus, being given the authority of the Inquisition, as inquisitors, the Jesuit order are experts at torturing the body, not only the body but also the mind. I was catching up because you're 5 minutes behind your sign on. Now I'm back to at a common measured pace. Hey, learning about the cadence. Trying not to have a. There's we've discussed this often with this Rigid Team. Audio is even more so, 100% more so than visual. Of course, it's nice to see as best as this is not necessarily a conversation, but it's certainly some kind of communication. But if my audio is shit, then the message is shit. No. All right. What have I missed? I missed anything? Yeah. Hey, piecing together history because of you and the team. Yeah. Here's the responsibility is on us. Each of us has to. Well, remember, there's no excuse. The idea of literally appealing to authority, which part of how about that? The part of Jesuit Ratio Studiorum, getting children when they're young, having parents push their children into an education system blank minds, literally blank canvases to be painted upon, pissed upon, shit upon, have that imprint, be imprinted upon. How about teachers? I can't remember the statistic. At what, from K to kindergarten, the keeping of the kinder, the keeping of the children, from kindergarten or the grade 12, the amount of hours it's compared to the time spent with parents. It's Jesuit Ratio Studiorum. Your children are no longer your own. If you're giving your children over to I don't have children, so I don't have the stress of that. Of trying to. It's not even about homeschooling, but this idea of the public school system or private as an excuse for daycare. Okay, certainly not going down that road right now, because right now we're winding down. Yeah, leaves children traumatized. Yeah, of course. But at the same time, here we are. We've come through it, and somehow we're either waking up or have been awakened for some time now. Something's obviously happened, whether it's through trauma or a number of traumas, but we're here right now. And what hell of a time to be awake at. All right, before the clock strikes midnight, we'll thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for being here. Hey, your Hawkeye. Your Hawkeye loves you very much. Just read. Yep. Well, okay. That's a great statement. There's not just read to the children scripture. Yeah, man. There is a scene, 2009, 2010, the Book of Eli. Remember the scene where Carnegie, played by Gary Oldman, was so close to grasping Denzel, the book that Denzel Washington had in his backpack, and at that point we don't know that. Clearly, if you haven't seen it, this is a spoiler. We don't know that Denzel is a character who has no sight. What a plot twist! And the fact that it was so well protected in media. But this idea that about the book and the words, and if you just have the book and if you just read the words, then that gives the reader power over people, over minds, because the words go to the heart. So obviously, how many times in history has the scripture being used for it not for evil? And then of course the changing, which of course this, and I think also the subtle changing of scriptures. Okay. Okay, I think we will leave it at that. Yeah. So, in summary, all education is a good Jesuit education. Did Vladimir Ledachowski live in his mother's house? Well, maybe he hung his hat there more than once. And his personally responsible, well, no, he came, his general would have started, so just after the sinking of the Titanic and just after the starting of World War One. Okay, and then what I don't have is a source, actually the only source at the moment, which is Frederick Tupper Saucy III, Jesuit Freemason, on what is it, page 70, 71, 72, brilliantly put that Ladachowski selected Leni Riefenstahl to produce, and this is in your Hawkeye's words, the most awesome goddamn propaganda ever produced, which of course is why I compared what Riefenstahl produced to the recent Roman Catholic educated Jesuit trained Greta Gerwig with the propaganda, not just hers personally, but you think of the force behind it, because it's clearly taken. It's made over 1 billion already, and that was a few days ago. And the fact that we're in a time where we can reflect on the work of Leni Riefenstahl, as I brought up, who lived to a grand old age of 101. And I believe she was selected because, one, she was a woman and would endure the criticism that would come after what it was discovered, what she produced when it was examined. If it was a man that had produced that kind of propaganda, it would have been a completely different story. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for being. Get your eyes education. Yeah. Isis Horus Serapis. And we'll thank the cap for that. All right. Resistance is rising. Thank you for spending a few moments with your Hawkeye. Okay. Until next time, just say no to Jesuit Ratio Studiorum. Bye for now.